Watch to see how I transformed a weedy Florida backyard jungle into a food forest in 3 years. Footage from 2019 through December 2022. Okay, this video is a tour of my food forest in the making. It's about a year old. This is the end of some mulch I've recently put down. This is going to be a syntropic experiment. I seed bombed this area with pigeon pea. I also transplanted quite a few longevity spinach and sweet potato vines. Right now we have a few banana plants, a mulberry, a red apricot, raw sapote, and a strawberry tree. And right up here is my third banana pit that I put in. Hey everybody, here's my nice little banana circle that I'm working on today. But after I dig it out a little bit more, I need to level it out a little bit, put some cardboard down, throw some mulch on top of the cardboard, dig up a couple banana pups and put them in here, and a few papayas. A bunch of bird of paradise yesterday, so I put that in here to feed the bananas. This one banana that I put in, I took the pup from the first banana pit. This pup too. This one got kind of moldy, so I had to cut it down, but it grew back. This is an ice cream bean. Need to trim it and maybe make some more little babies. Plant them around. This poor ice cream bean was leveled by Hurricane Ian. It's currently crowding out a soursop and a grumichama. I'm planning to take care of that within the next few months. The area under the oak tree is very well planted now. This area right here, I just threw down some palm mulch, threw some seeds in there, some sticks and things, let it go. You can tell the palm mulch actually helped a lot. You look over here, there's almost nothing growing. And then look back in here and it's all weeds for now. I say weeds, but a lot of that stuff is medicinal and edible. The area under the oak tree is planted with plenty of ground cover, a dwarf lemon tree, Monstera deliciosa, quite a bit of hibiscus, turmeric, and ginger. Back in here, I really hate annual gardening. So after I pulled up the sweet potatoes, I just threw a bunch of seeds down. This is my annual garden. I started it kind of late. It's a winter garden, but we'll see how it goes. I got some cucumber, 3 or 4 different kinds of beans and peas, carrots, a few different kinds of radishes, maybe some other things. The rabbits eat a lot of it though. More pigeon peas. You'll see a lot of pigeon peas all over the place. I believe that's a little guava. This is where the food forest started a little over 3 years ago. The banana pit has been highly productive. We've had 4 or 5 racks out of there, and one giant rack was killed by Hurricane Ian. This loquat is finally blooming. It's the first time. I had terrible plant spacing in this area. I've already moved 3 plants out of there, and more to come. The Katuk was leveled by Hurricane Ian, but it's still going strong. It'll probably end up spreading because of being leveled. African potato mint is doing well in this area. The Barbados cherry and Suriname cherry are doing well. They're producing. The plant spacing is really bad between the two. One of them has to go. I'm still deciding. What you can't see is the soursop behind the banana pit, which is covered up by the ice cream bean. And there's a lychee to the right of the banana pit. This area does flood a little bit towards the back, but it's not too bad. Sweet potatoes just going crazy all over the place. That section in the back over there is about 8 months old. And I've been expanding this area quite a bit. There's a cocoa plum. All this mulch is new within the last few days. This area was heavily damaged by Hurricane Ian. There were pine trees down all over in this spot. The tree service that removed the debris had to drive through there quite a bit, so it's looking rather sparse. Got an avocado over here. It didn't do too good at first. I think it was getting too much sun when it was little. And I put some store-bought mulch down there on top of it. I think that maybe smothered it and didn't like that. Lots of papayas here, but actually, so this whole area over here flooded. Like September, October, flooded a lot. That was actually my design. I wanted it to flood. There's the banana pit. Actually, this one started out as a papaya pit. But apparently, papayas don't like wet feet. Their roots, a lot of their roots got all moldy. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a banana growing right over there. I had 2 other pups that I planted here, but they died when it flooded. Couldn't handle it. I think if they would have been established, they would have been fine. And I lost about half of the papayas here. This one here kept falling over, so I just cut it off, and it's still growing. There was another, that one right there is actually cut off too. Cut it off a little higher, it's a little smaller. And you might have noticed a lot of hibiscus all over the place. Edible perennials is what I'm going for. The banana plant in the background is the sole remaining banana plant from that pit. And actually this papaya is a good example. This one fell over 3 or 4 times and I kept sticking it back in the ground. And it still has papayas on it, but I think those roots are all gone. Probably just end up throwing this in the mulch pile and eating these green papayas. You can use green papayas just like you use potatoes. Make mashed green papaya. It's pretty good. More Mexican sunflower. There's a little star fruit. This star fruit is a survivor. Ian knocked down 2 pine trees within feet on both sides. But we have a loquat over here. Some lemongrass. Got that in a lot of different places. It's a little loquat that I started as a cutting. It's actually doing pretty well. It's probably tripled in size since I put it there, maybe 6 months ago. Here's another angle of this area. You'll notice hibiscus, as usual, all over the place. A little bit of flooding. The cocoa plum was knocked over by Hurricane Ian, but it'll be fine. This is some perennial peanut. It's kind of dead and dying in the middle of winter. And the first papaya that I planted was actually right in the middle of this, but that's long dead. I learned that papayas will continue to grow if they fall over, so I don't move them anymore. I typically just leave them there. They will continue to grow and produce fruit. I've also learned not to plant papaya in areas that flood. I plant them where they can thrive. That's one of the top 3 lessons that I've learned. There are other plants that are much better suited for flooding areas, such as this Jupotacaba. They love wet feet. They thrive in this environment. And also the jamun in the background, June plum. This is some mulch I laid down this morning. Put cardboard down and then the mulch over it. I get free mulch delivered from tree services. Sometimes it's pine, sometimes it's oak, sometimes it's palm. I think the mixture of the 3 is probably the best. Palm has some different chemistry that helps flowering, whereas the pine and the oak has more nitrogen, so it's good for growth. Every time I make a new section, it gets green and lush a little bit faster. It's a learning process. I still use seed bombs, and I rely heavily on making cuttings where you just make a cutting, stick it in the ground, and it grows. It depends on when you do it. The rainy season is the best time. And this is all right here going to expand out here, and then over to my mulberry, one of my mulberries. It's more perennial peanut. I laid down the mulch and seed bombed this section in March, and then when the rainy season came in June, I just started making cuttings and sticking them in the ground like crazy. It was thriving by the end of July. And this was what I call my bean castle. I have a couple different kinds of beans in here. Also some loofah gourds in the middle of the winter. They're still growing. A little loofah. These are some beans. You can pick them. I'll eat them and also throw them into the, just throw them around, because all of the areas over here with mulch, I throw beans, and the plan is for the beans to be, of course, vines and also ground cover, because in the middle of winter, after pulling up the sweet potatoes, there's not a whole lot of ground cover, but definitely need ground cover in a food forest, and those sweet potatoes and the vines, the beans will come back and fill all that in. It'll be much greener in a few months. Got a couple pepper plants that probably need to be cut back. They're perennial here in Florida. And I put this little dog cage that I found in the bushes right here because we have some wild passion fruit. That's not actually passion fruit, but this is wild passion fruit growing. Decided to help it out a little bit. Actually, got a couple beans growing. I think I planted some cowpeas and long beans here. These are the Asian winged beans. You can eat these raw, you can cook them, you can let them dry out, eat the beans. This isn't good to eat raw. I like them when they're a little smaller. They're much more tender. This spot had some major reconfiguration the winter of 2021 to 2022. And I think the beans added so much fertility to the soil that the plants just took off like crazy. You can't even tell that there's supposed to be paths in there. There are paths that aren't mulched. It's completely lush and green and covered with almost no effort. I've added a couple of mango trees, a strawberry tree, a Florida king peach, quite a few little subtropical bushes that you can't see very well at the moment, pomegranate, jujube, and a few others that I can't remember at the moment. And over here is kind of a wild area. I'll leave it like this so that it attracts beneficial insects. Got some tree spinach right here. It's kind of and that's pretty much it. That's my food forest in the making. Thanks for watching.